Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but because he was short, he could not see over the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw this and began to mutter, "He has gone to be the guest of a sinner." But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham, for the Son of Man came to seek and save the lost." For some who grew up going to church, perhaps the story of Zacchaeus has been stuck on the flannel board of your brain. Zacchaeus was a tax collector who so desperately wanted to see Jesus that he climbed a tree in order to see him when he passed by. I was sharing this story at church camp years ago. I chose the smallest kid to play the leading role and a reluctant counselor to provide the branches from which our little Zach could perch. I picked a Jesus. The drama unfolded. Jesus came to town. Zacchaeus came down. I closed with a question: what would have happened if Zacchaeus hadn't climbed the tree that day? I'm not sure what I expected, but what I got was a dose of first-grade theology. An 8-year-old girl answered, "His song wouldn't be nearly as much fun to sing." Some of you will remember the song, but I imagine had he not made the climb, Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He started to climb a sycamore tree, but he didn't. That little girl was onto something. We spend much of our lives completely oblivious to whose songs are not much fun to sing because their faith is too small. The crowd is too tall, and so they have no sycamore to climb. For years, I noticed only 3 characters in the story: Jesus, Zacchaeus, and the crowd of distractions. I forget about the sycamore tree. The sycamore tree is you or me. Our job is to lift others above the crowd so that they might see the approaching Savior. When Jesus reached the spot, Jesus doesn't stumble upon the tree. The meeting was no accident. He goes to the spot as though it's his destination that day. The story is not about a curious tax collector about seeking a Savior. Luke eventually tells the story of another tree. Zacchaeus climbs a tree to get the attention of Jesus. Jesus climbs a tree and dies to get ours.